Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon. This video is, well, hold on. I do then questions on Wednesday. So if you guys ever have questions that you want me to answer, go ahead and put them in the comments of whatever video you're watching, and then I will write them down and answer them. So there that is. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other damn therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka, done. I would love to thank my sponsor, BetterHelp, BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. They are an online therapy company. They are international, which is great. So if you are anywhere in the world, you need to get in to see a therapist, just go to BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. They will ask you a bunch of questions. You answer those questions, and they will sign you up with a therapist here in the US of A. If you are seeing somebody here in the US of A and you do not like them, go to BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. They'll set you up with somebody who is licensed, professional, master's level, PhD level. If you don't like your therapist on BetterHelp, then all you got to do is, say, hey, don't like them, fill out some more questions, and they will set you up with somebody else. They've got packages that are completely reasonable. So BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. And I've gotten really good feedback. So that makes me feel good that people are using them and they're having a good experience. So BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. Okay, let's dive into the questions. So I'm going to answer the questions that were left over from Sunday's lecture on why aren't I over them yet? And then I'm going to answer some questions that came in on older videos that people wanted to have answered. So, okay. Why are they so cold when they dump us? They act like you never existed. Well, that is intentional. They do it on purpose. So remember, stonewalling is one of the ways that they hurt, harm, manipulate, control, etc. When we shun somebody, it activates the same pain sensors in the brain as physical pain. So it is intentional. It absolutely, and plus the fact they cannot take responsibility for a damn thing. So they are going to act as if it's all you because they don't want to have to think and they don't want to have to take responsibility. And it literally is like a light switch gets shut down, and it is again, a horrifying experience to go from love bomb, love bomb, love bomb. Oh, I'm just like you. Oh, look, we're so alike. We're, soulmates, twin flames, whatever, to this callous, angry, cold, you never existed, you're less than dirt, blah, 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 whatever, however they do it, and it's horrifying. That's the best way I can put it. It is breathtakingly horrifying to love someone and then have them do that to you because you would never do that to somebody else. So it's a form of punishment. It's a way for them to feel nothing. If they look at you, this is the only way people can harm others, is if they inhumanize them, if they make them not human, if they make them not exist, then they can do horrific abuses. That's how wars happen. That's how concentration camps went, is they dehumanized the population that they were torturing. And that's the only way you can do it, because otherwise you'd have a conscience, you'd feel guilty, you wouldn't do it. So basically, narcissists don't have that Jiminy Cricket up there going, hey, you may not want to be doing this to people because, this is kind of bad karma, They don't have that. They don't care. It's all ego. Everything, there is no here up here. There's no there. They're all ego. And so they get that real cold, callous, you never existed, that kind of thing. Those are probably the ones that will not hoover unless they're really truly psychopathic on top of that. But usually the ones that do the cold, callous, shunning, you never existed kind of thing, those are the ones that don't try to hoover because you've realized what they were and you've left them. How dare you? So yeah, they're just heinous human beings. So yeah, that's what it's for. So stonewalling is the same thing. When they give you the cold shoulder and don't talk to you, pretend you don't exist, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that is the same thing. It's intended to hurt, it's intended to harm, and it lights up the same pain centers in our brain as physical pain. So that's why they do it, because they are sadists and they enjoy inflicting emotional pain or physical pain sometimes too. So yeah, they're evil, capital E, evil, capital E. All right. My therapist says he feels like I am self-aware slash introspective, but I still have problems with my emotional stability, paranoia, self-criticism, etc. Any advice on how to break through the walls? Okay. So with the self-esteem, let me see if I got this right before I answer it. Hang on. Emotional instability. Okay, I would strongly suggest if your therapist is not DBT, get a DBT workbook. It's really good for emotional stability. It really is. Talk to your therapist about working through a DBT workbook with them. If they're not DBT, if they're CBT, have them work a DBT workbook with you. So to help you, kind of thing, with the emotional stability. So that's one thing you can do. Paranoia, self-criticism, etc. The other thing you're going to have to do, again, is thought stopping. So when the paranoia pops up, so-and-so's out to get me, or this thing is out to get me, or da-da-da-da, stop. Just stop. I hear you. I see you. And now I'm going to challenge you. How likely is this? Really? You know, you're going to have to do a little bit of logicking, new word. You're going to have to stop it, and then you're going to have to be like challenging it. It's like, okay, how real are you? You said this before in the past, it wasn't real. So I'm not inviting you in for coffee. You don't get to come in and have coffee and then stay for breakfast. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. Paranoia is a really difficult disorder to work with because our brains will sit there and say, danger, 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 danger. This person's out to get you, or this institution's out to get you, or this, you know. And our brains believe it. You cannot believe everything you think, especially if you've got paranoia going on. So you're going to have to challenge it. You're going to have to really seriously challenge it. And the DBT workbook is going to help with that. So, and then the other question, self-criticism. Okay. So self-criticism is the inner critic. Okay. This is the one that puts us down, tells us we're not good enough. You know, you're not good enough. Why'd you say that? That's so stupid. Blah, 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 blah. So you're literally, again, thank you for your input, inner critic. I'm not putting up with you. Why? Because I say so. I am the boss of you, little inner critic. You are not the boss of me. I am good enough. Why? Because I say so, because I'm the boss. Bye-bye. Go pound sand. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. You're seriously going to have to do that. The other thing that might help is to write out whatever criticisms pop up. Challenge them. Again, just like the paranoia. Are they true? No, they're not. Who told you this? Who criticized you in the same way? We learn this stuff, guys. We do not pop out of the womb going, oh, I'm a horrible, awful, terrible person. No, that is taught to us. So who taught you to be so harsh and critical to yourself? Who was harsh and critical in your childhood? Who taught you to be so judgmental of you? So that's, again, where you're probably going to want to write a go pound sand letter. So CPTSD, Chapter 3, Pete Walker, put it back on whoever taught you this stuff. Healthy kids have got an internal cheerleader. They're the ones that are like, oh, okay, I made a mistake. Okay, I'm going to fix it. Okay, I made amends. Okay, I forgive myself and I'm moving on. They are not sitting there going, oh, you're so stupid. Oh my God, why did you say that? Oh my God, why did you do that? You're not good enough, blah, blah, blah. That's learned. That is learned. Somebody taught us. Put it back onto whoever taught you that stuff. So the internal critic is going to have to be stopped, thought stopping, just like the paranoia, challenged, and then sent back to whoever gave it to you in the first place. So yeah, that's what I would suggest. And have your therapist, look into some DBT workbooks with you. Okay. Is it common for narcissistic abusers to use mental health counselors against their target? Absolutely. That's why I say, do not, listen to me now, believe me later, do not go to couples counseling with an abuser. All abusers do is once they know the jig is up, they start studying up on psychology, and then they try to figure out either how to manipulate you or manipulate the therapist. They will go to therapists that don't know their hind end from a hole in the ground. Okay? Brand new therapists, not trained in trauma, not trained in narcissistic abuse, not trained in anything that could be really helpful in these situations. Those are usually the therapists that they'll pick. And then they'll try to manipulate. And sometimes sometimes their egos are so huge, they'll try to pick somebody who does know what they're doing and still try to manipulate. And then once that therapist starts calling them on their stuff, they're gone. Peace out. But yeah, they will absolutely use a therapist that is green, new to the profession, to get a diagnosis against the spouse, to make the spouse look crazy, to, the whole thing. And they're charming, and they use the whole charm thing, and they try to manipulate and control. And you have to be a good therapist to see through that. You have to be aware and trained in trauma and domestic violence and all of these manipulations to know what they're doing. And a lot of times they have a giveaway, but if you're brand new to the profession, you're not trained in it, you're not going to know. And that's what they look for. They look for green counselors if they do go to counseling. And then once the counselor calls them on it, yeah, they're peace out. Like lying to the therapist. Okay, do they lie to the therapist to get the scapegoat diagnosed with mental disorders they don't have? Absolutely. Absolutely. Which is why you do not want to go to couples counseling with these people. You do not. It's dangerous. What they'll do is they'll read up on psychology. They'll watch channels like mine and Kim Saeed and all the other ones. They'll gather enough information so that they can use the technology. So that's okay, students out there listening. If you have a couple come into you and the abuser is one of them is using a whole bunch of technical psychological terms, you need to be on high alert. Because healthy, normal people that if they're not psychologists, counselors, therapists, licensed LPCs, MFTs, social workers, normal people don't use the psychological lingo. They don't. They just don't. So, but if they come in and they're spewing a bunch of psychological terms, you need ding, red flag. You need to be on alert. So yeah, that's what they do for sure. Totally. Okay. I think that answered that question. Okay. My mom used to tell me I would never be able to have a relationship because of my poor character. Wow. Okay. So she's projecting and she's saying you have a poor character and she was your mother, which means she raised you. So who's got the poor character? Wouldn't be you. How do I gain confidence now because I am in a bad relationship? It's like she was right. No, darling, here's the thing. What we do is our inner child is the one running the show until we get therapy. Seriously, until we start working on the inner child workbook, either by Catherine Taylor or Lucia Cappuccioni, or any book on the inner child by anybody that you like that's, a real therapist. So you look to that inner child. The inner child is the one that's running the show. So what the inner child will do, if there was a family of origin that was disordered, abusive, neglectful, etc., the inner child will look outside of us and go, ooh, there's somebody who kind of sort of reminds me of the person I had the hardest time with in the family. I know if I can make that person love me, I prove these yahoos wrong. So half of a doo-doo sandwich, half of a doo-doo sandwich, total doo-doo sandwich. So it's a good mother never says that their own child has got a bad character. And if the child does have a bad character, well, who taught it to them? It's narcissists and abusers incriminate themselves. They are constantly speaking of themselves. So when they predict your doom, they're predicting their own doom, not yours. So if you are in a bad relationship, get out of it. Get out of it. You don't deserve it. Get out of it. Get out of it. Get with a good therapist and start working on self-esteem. The Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi. The Inner Child Workbook by either Catherine Taylor or Lucia Cappuccioni. The Disease to Please by Harriet Breaker. I'm trying to think of the other ones that would help you. CPTSD, From Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker. Any of those books are going to help. So yeah, and don't listen to somebody who's predicting your doom when it's really their issue. So yeah, and get out of the bad relationship. You don't deserve it. Okay. My ex used to bring up the name of a person who assaulted me, oh God, from my past to win an argument. He apologized, but did it again multiple times. I don't understand why he did it. To win the argument. That's exactly why he did it. He wanted to throw you off emotionally. He wanted to win. And when somebody apologizes, listen to me now, believe me later. An apology is a heartfelt, oh my God, I hurt you. I own that. It will not happen again. And then it doesn't happen again. So if somebody is, oh, I'm sorry, and they do it again. Oh, I'm sorry, and they do it again. Oh, I'm sorry, and they do it again. They're not sorry. They're not sorry. The only thing they're sorry about is you caught them. They did it to harm, they did it to hurt, and they did it to win. Narcissists need to be right at all costs. They will say and do the most heinous things. They will bring up painful things from your past. That's why they pump you for information about your past so that they can use it against you at a later date. So the reason they did it was for manipulation and control, and they needed to win. That's why they did it. So write them a go pound sand letter. Take your power back. Guess what, a-hole? This person's name does not affect me anymore. You know why? Because I know why you're doing it. And then burn that letter. Burn it. Burn it. After you take your power back, burn it. But that's why they were doing it. And anybody who harms you and apologizes, but then does it again, is not sorry. Walk away. Better yet, run away. Seriously. Okay, let's see. Is that it? Yeah, that is it for those questions. Okay, now somebody had asked on a previous video. Okay. All right. Relating to your book, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him cha-cha. Why do some people stay and some people go? Well, I'm going to hate to say this, but I'm going to say read the book. There's a myriad of reasons. There really is a myriad of reasons. So some people stay in the abuse because of fear. Fear of being alone, fear of the financial situation, fear of doing the wrong thing, fear of, you name it. It's basically a fear thing. Other people go because they finally, and sometimes it takes 7 times leaving before it sticks, 50% above, 50% below. So they leave because they get the courage to, and they step out of the fear. And they're able to see how bad it is. And they're able to realize they don't deserve it. And so they finally go, that's it. Peace out, babes. I'm gone, So that's simplifying it, but read the book and I'll give you different examples of how people stayed and how people left. So there that is. I hope that answered that question. Since trauma bonding is often compared to Stockholm Syndrome, can you do a video or elaborate on the sameness or the distinctions of these two situations? Okay. So Stockholm Syndrome is trauma bonding. It is. Stockholm Syndrome came about, and it's called that because in the 1970s, I think it was 71, I want to say. It could be 71, could be 73. I can never remember. Anyway, early 70s, there was a bank heist in Stockholm, Sweden. They took hostages. It lasted for a week. By the time the SWAT team in Sweden broke in to rescue the hostages, some of the hostages literally threw themselves in front of their captors. No, they're our friend. Don't hurt them. We love them. This, that, and the other thing. And psychologists around the world were just like, what the just happened? So that's when Stockholm Syndrome started being investigated and, talked about, and trauma bonding was, oh my God, this is a real thing. So what had happened is that the captors had been threatening their lives for a week straight, and so not all of them, but some of the captives started fawning, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, giving in to them, trying to make them their friend, that whole thing, because it was a life-threatening situation. They had guns and everything else. So fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, people-pleasing, right? And they were bonded to them through this life-threatening situation. In fact, some of them are still friends with them to this day. And some of them testified on their behalf at the trial. So the trauma bonding, i.e. Stockholm Syndrome, happens when people go through a shared traumatic event. So abusers do this with the intermittent positive rewards. I love you, I hate you, 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 I love you, I hate you. So they'll punish, And just when the target of abuse is on the brink of leaving or on the brink of breaking or whatever, then they flip. Oh, but I love you so much. And, I do this because I love you. Oh, God, it just makes me want to puke. And so then the person wants the comfort and they go to the abuser to get the comfort because inner child is involved. Inner child is involved. How old is that person when they're going to the abuser for comfort? So then they love them. They love them. Ugh, I don't love you. The abuse starts all over again. So it's trauma bonding. So it's the same thing that happened in Stockholm. I'm going to kill you if you don't do what I say, and blah, 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 blah. And, oh, here, I'll give you extra food, blah, blah, blah. So it's the same thing. It's a trauma bond. So that's why it's called the Stockholm Syndrome. That's why it's trauma bonding. That's why the intermittent positive rewards is so deadly to targets of abuse. I think that's the best way to put it. Because it trains you. It's training, just like a dog. You don't give a treat every single time you train a dog. Sometimes it's every time, sometimes it's every third time, sometimes it's every sixth time, and eventually the dog will just sit when you give the hand command. So yeah, it's training, absolutely, and they use the same thing in POW camps. So yeah, it's intentional. Don't ever think it's not. Okay, I hope that answered your question. Okay, since you were only licensed in Arizona and I live in California, I want a trauma-informed therapist and somewhat feel like it might be a crapshoot. Can you suggest someone who is available in California or can do a Zoom session remotely? I want somebody who understands narcissism and trauma bonding and people pleasing. Okay, so basically I've done videos on how to look for a therapist. They're older videos. I haven't done one in a couple of years at least on what to look for in a therapist. So what you're going to do is you can look through either BetterHelp or you can look through Psychology Today, either one of them. And a lot of people that are on BetterHelp have their profile on Psychology Today. So look at their profile. What is their area of expertise? Do they understand trauma? Are they trauma informed? What's their modality? What do they use to do therapy? Are they CBT? Are they DBT? Do they do EMDR? Are they EFT? What is their modality? Look at their ratings. What do people say about them? It's like, are they good? Are they bad? What's going on? So that's the best way to find a trauma therapist is to type in trauma therapist near me and see if they're on either BetterHelp or Psychology Today and read up on their profile. See what it says. And when you go to get a therapist, and I cannot stress this enough, you need to be interviewing them as much as they interview you. So it's so funny. Some therapists, just their ego, man, is so huge. They get pissed off when a client calls and wants to know their education or wants to know what their specialty is or how they know so much about it or whatever. I am happy to tell them. It's like, there's my degree, and, here's how I know about it. And this is what I do. And, I'm happy to answer as many questions as they need because this is a very large investment. I don't just mean money. I mean heart and soul. I mean emotional. So yeah, you want to ask them as many questions as you need to feel comfortable so that you know that they're going to be what you need. And it needs to mesh. It needs to be a good working relationship. The biggest thing in therapy that people miss is the rapport. So it's really important to have a really good rapport with your therapist because you're going to be sharing incredibly intimate, incredibly vulnerable details with a total stranger. I know, therapy is the weirdest thing ever. It's like, okay, here, sit down in a chair and tell this total stranger like your entire life story. Yeah, it's totally counterintuitive, which is why it's really important to get with a damn good therapist that has good rapport, that is able to make you feel comfortable, that knows what they're doing, that is trauma informed, that has, done things with Bessel van de Kolk and, read his books. And do you see where I'm going with that? And just make sure that they know what they're doing and read reviews. Word of mouth is always the best. Word of mouth is always the best because that says a lot that people have been to this person, they like this person, they felt comfortable with this person, and this person helped them. And that's really what you're looking for. A good therapist is not going to be one, and I do think that a lot of people have a misconception of what therapy is and is not. A good therapist is not just going to sit there and let you complain. A good therapist is going to keep pushing you forward. It's like, okay, and now, okay, here's this tool. Here's how to use it. Okay, show me how to use it. Perfect, you got it. Okay, and now, and keep pushing you to grow. That's really what you want, because otherwise it's a waste of time and money. So interview them. So I've done videos on that. Interview them thoroughly. Make sure that you mesh with them. Make sure that they're compassionate and, good rapport and has the modality that is going to help you learn to help yourself, basically. So, yep, good questions. Okay, I think that might be it. Yes. Okay. All right, my loves. So that is all of that. And did I even bother to look up to see what I'm talking about next week? Did I do that? Honestly, Chris, really? What am I doing? Okay. Next week is the 28th. What am I doing? What am I talking about here? Hang on. I got to pull it up because I know I wrote it down. And can I find it is the question. Oh, Lord. Where did it go? I know it's here somewhere. No, that's not it. Ah, there we are. Okay, power and control. Oof. Okay, so we are going to be talking about power and control. So this is something that narcissists are highly invested in. They have to be in power and they have to be in control. That's that Machiavellian part of the dark triad. So narcissism, psychopath, Machiavellianism, the power and control. So we're going to talk more about how they do that, what they use, and when you recognize it, what to do. So, all right, my loves, you guys take good care of yourselves, and I will see you on Sunday. Don't forget that I am going to be in San Diego on the following weekend, that Saturday. So go to chriscodinas.com if you are interested in, if you are interested in attending that meet and greet. I'm also going to be in Honolulu at the end of September. So there is that. All right, you guys have a great week, and I will talk to you later. Bye.